we're going to do this, but we're going to do it our way.
You bought a robot, baby?
Wow, that was a joke grenade. That took me a second. Imagine the poop emoji as furniture.
It's weird that we didn't do that 10 minutes ago.
We should have started that before, you know. That makes a lot of sense. Why wouldn't we do that?
Too late now.
Matt, you forgot to disclaimer this part. We're old, and we remember how it used to be. There, go. And it was better then, too. You got to put that in there. Ice is back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly.
While you guys are weaving belts, I'm going to sing this little tune that I wrote.
We think we're funny. On with the show.
This is X Radio X.
Well, Matt, I hit record. That means it's time for another episode of X Radio X. It's episode 23.
Wait, is it?
I say
really?
this every time. Can you believe it? It's episode 23.
23. We're closer and closer to being able to rent a car.
That's right. I was going to be impressed if we made it to 10 episodes, and here we're at 23.
Yeah, the rest is just gravy, really.
Yeah. And maybe we'll even get some listeners from one of these ones, so that'd be fantastic. And this will be the one.
Speaking of gravy, did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did have a good Thanksgiving. I realized something, and I won't take too long before we get to the main part of this episode, but I realized that my body does not like to process things, delicious foods, like imagine like gravy. Hates processing gravy, yes.
Come on. First, they came for your ice cream.
They came for my ice cream. I'm allergic to ice cream, and now my body has decided
gravy.
It's going to reject gravy. Maybe it's for the better. Who knows?
I don't like it. No, there's no such thing. That's impossible. Gravy is...
So if you're keeping track at home, I can't have ice cream because I'm allergic to ice cream.
Sure,
I mean, I'm not actually.
Poisoning.
Yeah, ice cream poisoning. I'm intolerant to gluten. My body is intolerant to gluten. I can have gluten if I feel like a war inside of my stomach needs to happen.
Yeah.
And apparently gravy is now on the outs with my body too.
So, okay, this is ridiculous because what is better than taking all the different Thanksgiving staples on your plate and then pouring gravy over the entire thing?
Oh, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, there's nothing better.
I poured it right on the vegetables because I'm like, vegetables, it's Thanksgiving, whatever.
Yeah.
On the turkey, I made the turkey. It was in a roaster. It was delicious.
Nice.
I mean, matter of fact, we had turkey, of course, on Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Then we had hot turkey sandwiches the next day, which is delicious. Both with gravy. Both my body rejected.
Yep. But you didn't stop.
But I didn't stop. That's how I get this wicked bikini body that I'm currently sporting. And then today we had turkey tetrazzini.
Oh,
and that
nice.
was delicious.
Well done.
So far,
that doesn't have gravy.
No, it doesn't. And so far, my body has not totally rejected it yet, but we're still waiting on the results.
All right. Well, here's something that your body's not going to reject. We have a very special guest today.
We do. And before we get to our guest, Matt, we have to do our super professional thing we do for every episode.
Before we swear a lot.
Before we always say we're going to swear, and then we never fucking do.
There we go.
There you go. Got one in. So here we go.
Off, yeah.
Yes, this is our disclaimer for today's episode. Dear X Radio X listeners, today we're going to use the word empire a lot. Our legal department, that's me, has done the research, 5 minutes total, and discovered it's totally legal to use this term as Disney has not paid for it yet.
Yes.
If for some reason in the future this is not true, please call 1-800-DON'T-CARE to talk to our lawyers. And if that doesn't work, email Matt, not Jace. On with the show. So did I give it away yet? Did I give away our big reveal as to what the meat of this episode is?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Empyre. Empyre, what's up, buddy?
Hello, and happy almost winter to everyone.
It's exciting to have you on. So Empyre is one of our friends from WUPX, and that was his DJ name. And he's
and it literally just became his name.
Yeah, I that's one of those things that like that is, I think is, do people still call you that like in normal life, or is that just us? Like, is that exclusive to your former radio life?
In both real life and fantasy, it happens.
Nice.
It's not as prevalent as it was, 20 years ago.
Sure.
But some people call me E too, which I
that's
don't know where that came from, but I'll take whatever as long as it's not derogatory. I'm happy.
So the awesome thing is, well, first, to catch up with Empyre is going to be super cool. The other thing is that Empyre is actually an artist. He makes music, and so we get to actually play some of his music, which we're going to do a little bit later. But to get started, Empyre, this is the same thing we ask everybody, but what got you into radio, at college radio at WUPX? Like, what was your Radio X story?
So I remember, like, I've heard all the episodes. I've heard everybody's intro stories.
Nice, thanks.
Some of the other ones, like I didn't start out at WUP. I actually started out at WUMD, which was a cable access thing. So nobody could hear it on FM. It was just like if you turned your cable to channel 35 and watched like the advertisements, you could hear our broadcast, sort of thing.
Wow.
Where was that at?
That was out of U of M Dearborn.
Oh, UMD run. Okay, well that makes sense. UMD, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, a lot of it just comes from being hugely into music from a young age. I used to tape songs from the radio. I remember being like about 8 years old and maybe 9, and my next door neighbor was about 5 years older, and his buddies came over and we were playing with Lego. I was building with Legos. We used to all build with Legos on the porch.
Mm-hmm.
And these two dudes came up. They're like, wow, this is like a really good collection of songs. Like, which one of you guys taped this? They thought it was Phil or Jim. Jim has been a huge influence in my music life, like probably since then and well into the 90s. But yeah, these kids that were probably 5-6 years older than me, almost ready to drive, were like, you made this? Like, this is awesome. This is like, it was all like now classic rap stuff or hip hop or whatever you want to call it. But I always think I had a pretty good ear for good music, and when the opportunity came to be on the air, I was like, oh hell yeah, I want to do that.
So this is something, sorry to interrupt, but this is something I have to talk about, because there is a particular feeling when somebody else appreciates a mix tape or CD that you make that is, I think, exclusive to music nerds. And it's and people who don't get it, they're like, what? It's a mix tape, but to the people who do get it, it's like, no, you don't understand what I put into this, thought-wise, timing-wise, song order, what artists were on my mind at the time, or if there's a theme to the tape. And like, it's a rush when someone says, hey, I like what this mix is doing, like that's something that I think even now, like if I were to make a mix CD now and someone were to say, hey, I like this mix, I would be giddy the rest of the day. So I imagine at that age, you felt something similar.
Well, I mean, I felt like, oh my gosh, like I'm being as cool as these kids who are almost double my age, you know what I mean? Like if I'm 8 or 9, they were, 12, 13, 14 or something. And so they're probably in high school and they're thinking that I'm cool because of music.
Yeah.
Like
amazing.
There's lots of ugly musicians who are very popular who probably are happy that they're good at music so they can be ugly in peace.
That's a good point.
So,
okay.
Out of curiosity, do you remember what may have been on that mixtape?
Oh, wow.
Total shot in the dark.
Well, I'm sure there was some LL Cool J. Yeah. I couldn't tell you if it was radio or like You're a Liar. I'm sure there was Run DMC. Yeah. There was probably UTFO. I think The Real Roxanne. And beyond that, I wouldn't know. But I don't know if you've ever heard of The Wizard from, I guess it would have been WJLB at the time.
Is that the
Jeff
Big
Mills.
Beat?
I don't know if it was the Big Beat or not. But Jeff Mills was like his other music name. But I mean, he's gone on from those radio days of spinning like, new rap and electro. Like he became a very, very popular Detroit DJ. And I didn't know that till many years later. But that's who I used to listen to, to get the songs that I throw on my tapes.
Gotcha. And they would all mix in. Like, you would make the tapes directly from the radio in a lot of cases?
Oh, yeah.
So you'd have like a snippet of someone talking or like a little bit of the next song bleeding in.
I don't know if I know some of the tapes that I did that for. Yeah. I had, commercials or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly have no clue of how clean I tried to make that stuff.
Yeah.
I probably tried to, but I know that if I wanted a particular song, I just taped it because you didn't know if it was going to come back on again.
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
on a show like that. It's not like commercial radio where you just got to wait 12 songs and it'll come back on.
Right. Or now that there's the internet, then you can just find it wherever you want. You don't have to wait. But there was something special about catching it when it was, like you said, you never knew when it would come up next. So when were you a student at U of M at the time?
Yes, I was a dropout.
And so was it like freshman year, first thing you did was, I got to find a way to get my music to people? Or was it just more of a, hey, you should sign up for this, radio thing? Like, what was the driving force that got you to sign up for the cable access thing?
Oh, so I think I was probably just walking through, I forgot what it was called, like maybe the mall or something at U of M Dearborn, whatever, like the University Center. I was walking through and either saw like a campus, organizational, hey, come join our stuff, whatever we used to call those. I can't remember.
Because back in the old days, there was like bulletin boards and people would staple that shit up.
It was probably some sort of like gathering where they got a bunch of people together to try and get them to join different organizations.
Like what did we call it? It was like fall something when you would get on campus and like the first week you would walk around and see all the organizations.
Yes.
It was something like that, I think. But I mean, as soon as I saw that it was an opportunity, I wanted to do it. So I went to Northern for 2 years, and then I was at home for a year or back downstate. And that was when I went to U of M Dearborn, and that really didn't work for me. It was unhealthy, I think, for me to be back at home with all my friends that didn't go to college, because all they did was work and party. And that meant that, I partied too much, and that became my focus.
Right.
And I didn't make it through that semester. And then I decided I need to go back to Northern. I was watching, I think Varsity Blues, maybe some movie where it was about college football. And I was like, oh, I really miss Northern and I need to find a way to get back, because that's where I was happy and that's where life meant something. And being at home I just felt like I was turning into a waste.
Wow. And then when you went back to Northern, did you immediately find WUPX?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and I used to listen to it when I was probably a freshman or a sophomore. I know we haven't got to the part where we talk about songs that we remember from UPX, but when we get there, I'll tell you that story.
Okay.
So you went to Northern for a short period of time, then went back down to University of Michigan Dearborn, and then came back to Northern. I think it's when you came back is when I probably met you.
Yes.
Okay. Because that's when you came back and you were at you came on to WPX. If I remember this correctly, and you might remember it differently, I was doing Thrash and Trash Tuesday, and I was on till midnight, and then you came on at midnight and did the 25th hour. For like, because I want to say it was a summer, because I remember going to the bar with you after that a couple of times.
I remember that. So that was probably, I remember the summer semester. My very first semester was a 4 to 6 show, which quickly turned into a 4 to 7 show because the guy who came in at 6 didn't want to do it anymore. I think it was Chico. Does that ring a bell? He introduced me to some 311 stuff, like "Feels So Good" by 311, which is a great song still to this day. But he used to come in at 6, and then Spike came in at 8. So him and I just split it, I think, or something. We split this dude's shift. So he would come in at 7 and I would do like 4 to 7, which that 4 o'clock start time was rough because you didn't know, do you stay up or do you go to bed or try to go to bed early?
Exactly. Yeah.
But that doesn't work when you live in the dorms.
No. But we all had to do one of those shifts that was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You were talking earlier about, when you make a mixtape and people react to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the things for me about working at the X was when you're sitting there and you might play some semi-obscure song, like probably most people haven't heard it before, and that phone lights up and they want to know what you're playing. Like, what song is this? Or it happens 2 or 3 times during the song. You're like, oh yeah, I just hooked it up right here. It's one thing if it's Metallica or Ozzy, because then you get all the people calling in that want like more metal stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you're playing like, Portishead or something that you just picked up off of the new rack of 25, try these CDs out because they're probably good. Remember, they used to sit like right on top of the console.
Yep. Right. Yeah.
If you pick something out of there.
So
one of my favorites was when you would be on in those like, or, anywhere between like 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. and you're on the air and you're playing some weird stuff, something that people haven't heard before. And then the phone rings and it's somebody on the other end going, "What the hell are you playing this for? Play some more Pearl Jam." And it's like, well, you cared enough to call, so I guess I will play the Pearl Jam, but
please cater to me a little bit more.
Yes.
But that was nice, though. It still was cool because you're like, okay, this guy doesn't like the song, but he's still listening. He's paying attention to what I'm doing. You mentioned Portishead, and I do recall Portishead and Sneaker Pimps were the bands that I first heard from your shows, because those were bands that I had never heard prior to. And I know that you played both of those, not like all the time, but you definitely played a couple songs from both of them that I really dug. And I was like, what is this? And Sneaker Pimps, I still love several of their songs to this day because of hearing it on one of your probably 4 a.m. shows.
The other thing about getting those phone calls is you would think like maybe only 2 or 3 people are listening. But what was always odd is if I told a story on the radio, somebody seemed to always hear it. And I'd be in the weirdest places. I'd be at a bonfire or something with 20 people I don't know and 2 people I did. And somebody would go, "Hey, I know your voice. How do I know your voice?" And then they'd come over and start talking and figure out that, I was on the radio. And then they would reiterate some story that I told that I didn't think anybody heard. It kind of spooked me. It was never anything personal, but still it's like, oh, wow, people do actually listen.
Right.
Because you have no way of knowing, like, are 5 people listening or are 1,000 people listening? I mean, likely not 1,000, but you don't know. There's no way to know.
Remember, this is getting a little off topic, but remember when they switched over to being able to stream online, and then for some reason we could tell how many people were listening? Do you guys remember that? It was but it would only be like 8. We would see 6 or 7, and we'd be like, "We've got 7 people." It was pretty cool at the time.
The cool thing, though, is they could be anywhere in the world.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And you'd have to ask yourself, like, how is it somebody in Chechnya is listening to our station right now?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. That was an extra thrill just to be able to, even though it was a very small number, because the internet was, I don't know, I mean, it was still kind of in its infancy, but to be able to say, I can see the people that are logging into this right now, that just gave it kind of an extra little boost, I guess.
And I vaguely remember a story when we first started trying to stream, and gosh, this would have been like 97, 98 maybe.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. So early in the days of streaming. I vaguely remember us knocking down Northern's network for a short period of time.
Probably.
Because back in those days, the compression wasn't what it is now. So you might get 8 to 10 streams, and that's a lot of bandwidth,
right?
For what they were doing at that point in time. It wasn't like it is now, where like I have 400 megs of bandwidth, into my house. I can pretty much watch and listen to anything I want whenever I want. Back then, it was like, oh, we have 10 people on. Yeah, we can't email now. The science department is down.
So, Empyre, were you Empyre at U of M, or when did you get that moniker? What's the story behind that?
So I think I tried out a couple different names when I was at U of M Dearborn. So Empyre, the nickname actually came from when I was a freshman at Halverson Hall. Everybody there in Dakota House, which was the second floor, second house, eventually got a nickname. And it didn't take me long to get that nickname. But yeah, I was Empyre then. And then when I was on the radio, I was like, well, this is easy. I'll just use that. And like I remember...
Is it from you being a Star Wars fan, or is it unrelated to that?
It's not related. No. Should I tell the story or not? Yeah, what the hell, I'll tell it. So, so we used to live upstairs, all guys' house.
Yeah. On
top of the floor below us was all girls, and I was I don't want to say I was shy. I guess I was outgoing, but I wouldn't know if a girl liked if she shot me in the face with a beacon that told me she liked me. So, I would talk to the girls downstairs, or they would come hang out. And this dude down the hall used to come borrow stuff from me. Maybe he wanted to see who was hanging out in my room. I don't really know. But he would borrow like video games. He borrowed, I remember, Billy Squier CD one time, NES games. And one day they were effing around, and, I thought they were trying to make me blush. But he was like, yeah, this guy gets laid more than carpet. And at the time, like, no, I did not lay anybody in the entire building. Like, I wouldn't. I mean, I probably could
not even the carpet.
Yeah. Well, but yes. So then they called me Empyre, like the Empyre carpet commercials, which I think I heard you guys singing about. You guys sang the jingle on one of the episodes, right?
That's right, we did.
That is definitely regional. If you're not from the mid-Michigan area, you're probably not going to know the Empyre commercials.
Well, and I
800-588-2300 Empyre
today.
Wow. And I never knew that. I totally thought this was a Star Wars thing.
I love that story.
So I never heard that before. I didn't know what the commercial was, but they were like, oh yeah, this guy gets laid more than carpet. And, they were kind of being frat boyish, and I was embarrassed. There was a girl in the room who I don't think I liked her, but they were like, oh, you should, go out with her. And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get out of the room. I felt like that, the skunk in Pepe Le Pew, just trying to get away. And, I was really embarrassed about it. And I was a big fan of Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars. And so I put some Empire Strikes Back stuff on my door. And I had the trilogy. I had 2 versions of the trilogy, one letterbox, one normal. And people used to come borrow it all the time.
Yeah.
And so it kind of stuck because of that. And I was really shy about it for years. Like, I didn't want to tell anybody where that story came from.
That's perfect, because
that's a great origin story, though.
Yeah, but it gives you an out. So, like, you have a Star Wars reference that you can use, like, in mixed company. But now the real story is awesome. That's hilarious.
If you say so. I mean,
it's
it. Nothing like my kids can't hear or anything, but.
I just had to write that down, though. So in the future, if our legal department gets called about using the term Empire, neither the carpet company nor Disney owns it quite yet. So we're still good. Still good. We're still legal.
So, and you obviously have hip hop influences. Has that been what you primarily played when you were on the radio, or did you like to play a little bit of everything, or what was the theme you like to go with?
So one of my shows, I had, I think, like 3 or 4 different show names. I did one, it was called The Plethora of Noise.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
There was one called Empire's Theme Park. And the theme park one, I would try to do, like, I would just pick a genre or something, like maybe all soundtrack songs, or maybe all, 80s music, or maybe
that's
all
fun.
Metal. I would try to do something like that, and then hopefully get some requests. I've always been pretty diverse. Like, I think that as far as rap and hip hop goes, that was the first type of music that was my thing, that was different from my parents. So I was able to establish a musical identity before I was 10. And, of course my parents hated it, which, made it better for me.
Sure. Yeah.
But true. My dad, the first concert I went to was Robert Plant, and Atlanta Miles opened. I didn't know I knew who Led Zeppelin were. Like, I remember one time hearing a song on the radio and asking my mom, is this Led Zeppelin? And I don't know how I knew it was Led Zeppelin, because I didn't know any of their stuff.
Yeah.
But after that, I was like, oh, I'm hooked. And I listened to Led Zeppelin 1 through 4, like, constantly for the next few weeks. And then, that turned into a lot more classic rock. And that was right before Nirvana and Soundgarden and that whole thing started to take off. So my influences started with, whatever my parents listened to. I really liked Queen when I was younger.
Yeah.
One of the first 45s I bought was Mr. Roboto. We didn't have school that day, or we had
From
half
Styx?
a day, so we didn't have. Yes, we didn't have lunch. My mom gave me lunch money, and there was a record store on the way home, and so I had like $2 in my pocket or something. And I'm like, I wonder if I could buy something, and that's what I bought. And the B side was
that day.
Yes, the B side was Snowblind. And what's weird is I didn't know that for a long, long time. And one day I was at a job, probably about 99, 2000, right after I graduated. And they played the song Snowblind on the radio. And I'm like, how do I know this song? Like, I don't think I've ever heard this before, but I know all the words. And then I looked it up one day and found out that it was the B-side to the 45 of Mr. Roboto. And I went, oh, wow, that's crazy.
That's
so
awesome.
Hold on a second. Hold on. So is it Snowblind an original by Styx, or were they doing a cover of the Black Sabbath's Snowblind?
Oh, you know what? I couldn't tell you that. I don't know.
Now, all right, while you guys talk, I will go off to the internet and see if I can figure this out.
While he's figuring it out, I just have to say, so your first concert ever was Robert Plant with Alana Miles opening. The question on everyone's mind is, did Alana Miles just sing Black Velvet 7 or 8 times, and then Robert Plant came out?
She sang other songs, but that was the only one that I knew. I was probably the only one most people knew, and it was probably the last one or second to last one she played.
I saw a while back, I saw Journey, the new iteration of Journey. And, oh gosh, who was it? Night Ranger opened. And obviously you guys know more Night Ranger songs than I do. But I was just expecting them to just play Sister Christian over and over again, and then Journey would come out. And that wasn't the case. But they were good. They were actually good.
So I have tickets to see Journey in a few months.
Nice.
Like, March 2nd, Billy Idol opening up, or Billy Idol BFI.
That'll be a good show. Now, have you seen them since Arnel Pineda started singing with them?
No, I'm only going for Billy Idol, to be honest. I mean,
he's
I'll watch
good.
Journey because I know some songs, but
Arnel Pineda is good. He has the chops. Like, it's amazing. Like, there are times when if you close your eyes, you would hear Steve Perry. And I know that's, to all you Steve Perry fans, you're probably mad at me, but not all the time, but he can hit those songs like amazing. He's good. Like I would see them again, knowing that it's not Steve Perry. I would see it again.
I know a lot of people have a hard time when somebody takes over as a lead singer.
Yeah.
I mean, Alice in Chains, I haven't completely warmed up to, but I don't dislike it.
Mm-hmm. They have some good songs. Same.
I saw Queen with Adam Lambert, and they had so much respect for Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
And Adam Lambert was so, he knew he was lucky, and he made sure the crowd knew that he felt blessed to be where he was.
That's true.
And I think that made it a lot more, forgiving in that respect. One of the first things he said was, hey, some guys tell me you're not fucking Freddie Mercury. And he's like, yeah, I know.
Exactly.
He's like, there's no way that anybody could be Freddie Mercury. So
yeah.
Yes, I agree with you, sort of thing. And, that kind of attitude is kind of what you got to have, especially in that.
Oh, for sure. I don't think it's rare for a band to replace their singer and be better. I think pretty much we can all agree AC/DC, right? Jace is the only one.
Why do you do this? It's
pretty
not
much
better. It's good. But Bon Scott, it's two different things. We can't do this. This is about Empyre. This is not about me and AC/DC right now.
What did you find out about Snowblind?
Attitudes with Bon Scott? It's a completely different attitude.
Yes,
that's true.
Is a lot of it.
Yeah, it's attitude, not being as good, things like that.
Axl Rose, I don't think you could have another Axl Rose because his attitude is just his attitude.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's hard to.
And I don't think
him.
The world needs another Axl Rose.
Well, no,
I think one's a good.
Yeah, I hated their first single, this most recent one that they put out, but I do like Old School. Have you guys heard Old School? The new Guns N' Roses?
I've heard it.
I think it's pretty good.
It's okay.
It's not bad.
I heard the one song. I saw them this last summer. I was supposed to see them in '91, and I got grounded, and I couldn't go.
Oh, no.
And so then they, shortly after that, I still couldn't go, and then they broke up, and I didn't get tickets in 2016. I wanted to, but my daughter was going to be born on the day that they were playing in Detroit, a scheduled C-section. And there's no way I could say, hey, could we change this? Or after she's born, can I cut out and go see Guns N' Roses?
It's Guns N' Roses. Yeah. The doctor would have understood, but wise priorities there.
Yeah. I think you made the right choice.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure that I made the right choice. And my daughter is amazing. Yeah. She's 5 now. She cleaned her room today. She made the beds. I didn't even ask her. She's like, hey, Dad, do you care if I clean my room? I was like, go for it. And then I saw that she made the bed. She cleaned the living room. She cleaned off the kitchen table. I'm like, wow.
That's the moment, Empyre, where you take to go, I just want it to be known, dear, that going forward, your father will not be mad if you clean any of the rooms.
Yes. You don't even have to ask.
You don't even have to ask.
I kind of like the permission, though, because then I get to reward her right there on the spot.
That's a good point.
Well, it also gives, when you have a daughter, it gives us fathers that false sense of power at that moment in time. That permission is actually a thing for those little girls. They just kind of look at you and go, well, Daddy, I'm going to, and you're like, I'm going to play tough for a minute, but you're going to get what you want. Let's just jump through all the hoops and, do the charade and you'll get your thing.
Right.
Oh,
at least that's how it goes here. I'm not sure about everybody else's house.
So, Jace, did you find out about Snowblind?
Yes, it is not a cover. It's actually an original. So,
all right.
But Black Sabbath does have a song called Snowblind, and they're both about cocaine. So, which kind of makes sense. 70s, 80s.
Yeah,
checks out.
Wait a minute. Are all songs that have snow in the title about cocaine? This changes Christmas for me, really.
I was like, Frosty the Snowman takes on a whole different meaning.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, what about the rapper? Isn't there a rapper? Yeah, a rapper named Snow.
Yeah, a licky boom boom down.
Yes, that's it.
That had to be about cocaine.
Yeah.
12
First
inches
you start
of
in
snow.
You start in with the AC/DC stuff.
Wait a minute. Are you taking a stand on Informer by Snow?
I'm taking a stand.
For the record, I know that I'm in the minority here, but I'm one of few people that really likes 2 out of the 3 Van Halen singers a lot. And I don't prefer one to the other.
So, I like how you just made that segue. It's like they're talking about Snow, boom, Van Halen singers. We're going to get Jace off this topic.
So Gary Cherone and who else?
He liked.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, Gary Cherone wasn't that bad.
He wasn't bad.
The songwriting was that great as a band at that point.
Nah, it was bad timing. It was bad timing, really. The whole thing was that moment of time for music. Gary Cherone as a singer. He's a great singer, but that was just not good timing for all of it.
No, I don't think it was a bad record.
No.
A lot of people hate it or can't listen to it. There's some decent stuff on there. I think that when he came in, if you listen to it and think, okay, he's trying to be himself, but also be a Van Halen singer.
Right.
Like he pulled that off. And I don't know how he pulled that off because it seems like it would be kind of impossible to do, especially following the 2 people that he followed.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So since we brought up the topic and we kind of did this with AC/DC, so Van Halen though, I mean, we have Gary Cherone. He has one album. We know that.
Yeah.
But in the world of Van Halen, there's Van Halen and Van Hagar.
Right.
If people are being, jerks about it or music critics about it.
Yeah.
So where do you fall in that world, Empyre? Hot take. Go now.
If you had to pick one.
I honestly, I couldn't. I have such a hard time with that.
And I'll accept that because I'm the same way. Because it depends what you're asking me for.
I was just about to say that. It depends on what you're looking for.
The Carnal Knowledge album is a great album. It's the only album they won a Grammy for. And I think that they probably deserved a Grammy for Van Halen 1 too, as well. But it's a great record. Like people say that it's, too poppy or too this or too that, but I've always liked it from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
And, I don't know that I love 5150 as much as some other people. I think because it's still kind of keyboard based. And when I listen to Van Halen, I want to hear the guitar, right? I mean, that to me is what made Van Halen so awesome, is his ability on the guitar and all the crazy things that he did with it. And, I think Carnal Knowledge was the first record where they really mostly got back to guitar. I think Right Here, Right Now had piano in it, but for the most part, it was a guitar record.
But that piano was amazing. I love the piano in that song.
And that's really good.
I think that the thing about my opinion about those 2 eras of Van Halen is, again, my hot take. So feel free to tweet me all the things that you disagree with. But my hot take is that Eddie Van Halen was getting a little older. He wanted to showcase that he had tremendous songwriting ability, not just railing on guitar. And I think the songwriting was better with Sammy Hagar, not really necessarily as a result of Sammy Hagar. I just think that they were getting a little older and their maturity was pushed into the writing good, solid songs, rock songs, versus just, and look what else I can do. Like that was, I think that they wisely made a little course correction. And again, they are very different and it depends on what you're asking for. Like if you're looking for a party, I would go with Roth era for sure. I mean, I think he was just crazy to listen to and he was a goofball and it was always fun. And there's still good playing in those songs, obviously, but I think that the songwriting was just much more solid as they got older, even though all their songs were about wondering if it was love.
I wish I knew like what every one of their songs was about, but I know some of the Van Hagar songs or Sammy Hagar lyrics were a little deeper.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
You know, like one of the songs that I looked up the lyrics to, I think it was more about like understanding spirituality, or you know, it was something about, you know, why do bad things happen to good people,
right?
That sort of thing. And I mean, you know, in terms of Van Halen, that's pretty deep. I mean, in terms of any song, when you get to that level of, you know, fate versus free will, like that stuff is a lot more thought provoking than, you know, let's find chicks that want to have sex.
Exactly. And I think that's part of the wedge that was driven between the people who loved Van Halen originally, who were like, I'm hot for teacher and I'm your ice cream man. And then now we're writing about songs about how do I know when it's love and things like that. And those fans are like, whoa. We don't want this. We want ice cream man. We want, you know, this other thing. But I don't know. I think they both have their value. Jace?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have an opinion. It's okay.
Oh, no. I have plenty of opinions, but you guys have covered a lot of them. For me, when it comes to Van Halen, is it do I want to party and drink beer?
Yeah.
Which is David Lee Roth stuff for the most part.
Yep.
Or do I don't know what I think the Sammy Hagar years of Van Halen were much more radio oriented rock.
Oh yeah.
Which is not a bad thing because that's all I listened to back then.
Yeah.
And they were very MTV friendly and they were very radio friendly. Yep. And they were still very good.
Yes.
Like they didn't lose any of their, some people may not think this, but they didn't lose any of their edge. They made the singer change, much like AC/DC. They made the singer change and went from a singer who was revered in the rock circles to another singer. And they actually sold more records, did bigger tours, made more money, got more fans. And
both singers
were
very energetic, obviously kind of crazy. Who knows what kind of drugs? I would suspect cocaine in both cases. But
lots of stimulants.
Yes.
I know in the older, you know, like after Wolfgang joined the band, you know, there was a lot more press about, well, I guess there's always been the press about, you know, the controversies between the different members in the band. But I feel like, especially when Eddie died, that Hagar was much more of a class act about it.
Oh, I think that's probably true.
And I have a lot of respect for him about that. You know, I don't want to say that David Lee Roth was a jerk about it, but you could just tell that Hagar had more of like an actual heart about the whole thing. Like he really cared. You know, I think he was moved to tears. You know, I think the day that he died, he was performing and they were playing a Van Halen song because they already played Van Halen songs. And he said, knowing that I'm never going to play this song with him again, and that there's no way to do that, he's like, it was very hard to perform that song.
Oh yeah. I
and
bet.
You know, and not everybody's vulnerable like that. I'm sure David Lee Roth is at times or can be, but I think Hagar is a little bit more down to earth in that respect. And maybe it's because, they're older now. I don't know.
I think that factors in, but I agree. I think, like I said, that also is reflected in the types of songs that they did. I mean, still, Sammy Hagar sang Pound Cake. That's not really a
for sure
emotional tearjerker, but it was a different. It was a good song, but it's a different emotion. Like you said, he does put more heart into the songs that were of that era. Do you think that they should have changed their name when they changed singers?
Oh,
philosophical question.
No.
No.
I don't know. I mean, not with 2 out of the 4 members being Van Halen's.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a good point.
That is a really touchy subject, especially being a musician. When you collaborate with somebody, I think one of the biggest fears is like somehow they're going to take something that you did and run away with it, and you're not going to have any say in it anymore, or they're somehow going to make it look like, they came up with this awesome idea, or, they're going to become, rock gods and leave you in the dust. There's all sorts of feelings that come with working with other people who are very talented. And, sometimes when you work with somebody and you're like, man, I know this person is way more talented than me, and they're probably going to make it a lot farther than me. There's that fear inside. And I know I've seen different musicians like take that fear and do different things with it. Sometimes it helps them try to become closer to these people. Sometimes, it makes them want to use these people and find a way to further their career.
Yeah.
But it also drives a rift between a lot of talented musicians, or sometimes people think, oh, I contributed so much more to that thing, and they took it and they got popular. And, you don't really know who did the work sometimes or who came up with the idea.
Right.
One thing I had to learn, like becoming a real adult, like into my 30s, when you realize, you're not going to be a millionaire making music or anything like that, is, it's not up to you. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are or how good other people think you are, unless whatever it is you do appeals to people naturally. Mm-hmm. It's not ever going to take off. And, understanding that came from a Stephen King book, actually, but
really,
yeah. The one about the vampires, Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot. Huh.
I never read that book.
I have, but I don't know the reference at this point.
Well, so the main character in the book is a writer, and it's pretty obvious, I think, that Stephen King is channeling his own, things about himself into this character. And he's like, some people are so much better with words, and they're so good at saying things in beautiful ways. He said, but, we don't get to choose, who's considered talented or whose talent appeals to the most people. Like, some people just like the simple stuff because it's simple. And, Stephen King, he's very good at writing things in a way that's easy to understand.
Right.
And I think he gets a lot of critique on that because he's not using, artful words. He's not writing poetry. He's just telling a story that's easy to understand.
He gets critiqued because he's accessible.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, we've all done that. We've all picked on some musician or artist or band because everybody loves them. And, we think, everybody should know about Mike Doty or, somebody who's more what we would say maybe artistically expressive as opposed to, somebody like the Beatles who just everybody pretty much likes. I mean, I know not everybody likes the Beatles, but a lot of people like the Beatles.
Right. Yeah. And everybody should know about Mike Doty.
I agree.
Yeah. He's had some trouble on Twitter recently, I think, with his Hulu. I hope he gets that figured out. I really do, because I've had the same problem. He tweeted about, this is a tangent, but he tweeted about...
Oh, is this about the losing your playlist thing?
Yeah. That's the worst, because if you watch something on Hulu and then you want to go back and continue, like either watch that same episode or watch the next episode, usually when you log onto the main Hulu screen, and I'm talking with my hands, so bear with me, but there's like a thing that says you recently watched this. Do you want to continue, or whatever it says? And sometimes the thing you were watching is not there. Like you were just watching it yesterday, but they're like, nope, try something else. And you have to actually go into the search and type in the name of the show, and it'll be like, all right, fine, you can watch this. Here it is. I'm not going to keep it from you, but I'm not going to make it easy.
I guess since you're paying for this, we'll let
you worked
you watch
hard
what
enough.
you want.
You earned it this time. You found us the hard way. You can watch, the great.
One of my biggest
whatever.
gripes about technology is the user interfaces. Like I was just talking about it this week. MP3 players, like we've had software to play MP3s for 20, 25 years, whatever.
Yeah.
And I would think that the user interfaces would be more streamlined and, bigger buttons and have the information that we want to see. Although the information that like the three of us want to see is probably very different from a lot of other people. Like I still want to know how many seconds are left in the song I'm playing.
Yeah.
And that's not always an option. Where did we get that from? When we were on the air and we needed to know, okay, we need to be ready to hit that button and say these things in exactly 42 seconds.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah,
and we knew how much time at the beginning was so we could talk up to the post, which is something I never really mastered.
Oh, I love that. It's such a sweet feeling when you get it, though. But that's why what was it? You know what? I think it was Windows Media Player used to let you really, really customize.
I think you're talking about Winamp.
Maybe. Yeah, Winamp. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That had so many different ways it had count up, count down. You could put in, all the different info, and it had so many little fields that you could fill in. And that to me is like where I nerd out, like some people can like, I don't know, organize their books or whatever. I could like spend
their recipes.
Hours. Yeah, exactly. Putting their recipes in order according to, biography. But for me, it's taking raw MP3s and inputting data is so satisfying to me. Like that is so fun.
I have a program at work that makes it really easy to do that stuff. I can't remember what it's called, but it was a freebie that I downloaded. And, before Spotify became the norm for me, like, or, YouTube is another one I go to for music. Like I wanted to organize my MP3s really, really well.
Yeah.
And, like if you downloaded a few songs here and a few songs there, the tags were all screwed up. And, instead of having one entry for a record, you'd have 3 entries for a record and everything was, out of order. So one thing I got to ask you guys, and this kind of comes from High Fidelity, but it kind of comes from just music heads in general. Like I've known a lot of music heads in my time. How do you guys organize your music? Like if you had 600 CDs that you want to organize on a shelf, do you do it alphabetically? Do you do it by genre? Do you do it chronologically in the order that you bought them?
I would love to do it chronologically just because I think that's a fun idea, but because I need to find stuff and my brain doesn't work very well, if I put it in chronological order, according to me, I would be looking forever because I wouldn't remember. So I'm strictly alphabetical, but I do take compilations and put them separately. So like if it's, a movie soundtrack, I don't put it in the area where the movie title is. I put it in a separate section, and then that's alphabetical. That's what I do. Jace, what do you do?
If
you
I
have everything digital.
If I still had physical copies, which actually I do still have a lot of physical copies, and they're organized in Rubbermaid Tupperwares in my garage and or basement.
But in no particular order.
And they're just in boxes. But when I did organize physical copies, it was always by artist, tried to go alphabetically, but then I would get frustrated because of compilations. Do I put them in like the Judgment Night soundtrack?
Yeah.
Is it go under soundtracks or does it go under J for Judgment Night?
Right. And sometimes there's a artist who does a whole soundtrack. So then do you put it under that artist, or do you put it under the fact that it's the soundtrack for, whatever it might be, Judgment Night, or do you put it under compilation? It's not always easy. It's not black and white all the time.
And
what about you, Empyre? What do you do?
Well, I mean, I've done it different ways, different times. I remember one time I had like maybe three sections of my library. One of them was like what I would call my staples, the stuff that was my favorite stuff, more of all time stuff that I would probably never sell, never get rid of, or bands that I want to have, everything by. Mm-hmm. and then, my general population of stuff, and then stuff where like, if I had to sell 100 CDs, I would pick from this stack.
Yeah.
And how many times I don't know if you guys did this, but there were many times where I would sell a CD and then 2 years later be like, why did I sell that? And I would end up buying it again.
See, that's why I never sold
any
of
one.
my music. I just hold on to it. Even if I never listen to it again, I just can't get rid of it. I can't bring myself to. Now, if I had like thousands and thousands of CDs, I could see myself doing what you described, because I wouldn't want to like have to get one of those big ladders with wheels on it and slide across the room trying to find.
What do you mean? I would totally want that.
I mean, it would be awesome. But if I just wanted to grab like the new Kings of Leon, I wouldn't want to have to go all the way up to like the top of the ceiling to get to K. Or if I wanted to listen to Alice in Chains, that's way up in the top corner. I would have a list of favorites down low where I could reach. So I could see doing that if I had that many, but I only have like a few hundred. So I'm not like at the point where I need a room just for my CDs. And I don't think I'll ever get to that point. But like I said, I don't ever sell anything. So
I would love to get to that point where I have like this library and I invite people in.
It's the dream.
It has like 14-foot ceilings and ladders on rollers.
Yeah,
I'd be like, oh, you would like to listen to the Backstreet Boys from whatever? Oh, yes, I do have that. Let me climb up here and move my ladder over. And then I slide the shelf over and I pull it from behind. And I'd be like, this one was pressed in 1998. And it's on 24 karat gold, blah, blah, blah. Put it in.
I don't know if you've seen Josh, Mr. the Punk Guy's
I have.
in 16-bit
the pictures
Nintendo
of his video game library.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
That's the goal right there. That is definitely a goal. It's ridiculous.
So he has a wall of video games.
It's like 2 corners of a room, I think.
Wow. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's so awesome.
He doesn't have every 8-bit Nintendo game, but of the people I know, I feel safe in saying he probably has the most of them.
Really?
I don't know, Empyre, you might, I don't know where you are in collecting 8-bit Nintendo games, but I would imagine that if you did, yours would probably rival his.
I used to have collections like that, but I got rid of them mostly because I realized I just can't play that many games. I
right.
Be able to. I want to be able to. So when I was a kid, I asked my dad, I said, Dad, what is heaven? Like, what would it be like? And he's like, anything you want. And the first thing I thought of was an arcade with all the games on free play. And they have a place like that in Chicago. I've been there. It's called Gallon Ghost. Yeah. You pay $20 and you can play like until they shut the doors at 2 in the morning or 4 in the morning. But yeah, I mean, if I could alter that dream now of what heaven might be like, it would be like the time to play all those video games.
Yeah.
I thought the pandemic was going to be that, but it didn't work out that way for me.
No, something always gets in the way of mindless entertainment.
And I truthfully, after 2 or 3 weeks of being at home and having some of that freedom, I just got to do something else. I wish I could focus, laser focus on one thing and be, the best 8-bit Nintendo player in the world, but I can't. I lose focus after a few weeks.
We can't all be Fred Savage.
Oh yeah.
Wow, there's a deep cut, everybody.
I know.
I saw that movie at the theater.
Nice.
Matter of fact, when the Nintendo Championships came to Detroit, I was an official semifinalist.
Really?
In what game?
So they made it. It's a special cartridge. You can download the ROM of it, but you start out. You have to get 50 coins in Mario, and then you have to beat one board on Rad Racer, and you have like 6 minutes or something, and then the remainder of your time after you do those 2 things, you play Tetris, and your Tetris score is multiplied by like 25. I think the Rad Racer score was multiplied by 10. And then, so the goal was get to Tetris as soon as you can and then just kick massive ass at Tetris.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things of my entire life, just below my children being born, was being on stage with 1,000 people watching me play Tetris. And
that's
being
cool.
on one of the 2 focused screens and dropping that big Tetris bar down, getting a Tetris and hearing all these people cheer for you. Like, whoa, awesome. Somebody can cheer for me playing a video game. I mean, it was breathtaking for me.
That's fantastic. Wow. That's really cool.
That's-
And then if you were to watch that movie now,
before esports was esports,
right? Yeah. Totally. If you were to watch that movie now, though, and the big reveal when people see, what was it, Super Mario 3 or something? That was people would be like, what? That's it. Great. Looks lovely.
Well, I mean, now what was the game recently? Grand Theft Auto, the repackage of the first 3 games came out, and it was supposed to be a big deal, but it disappointed a lot of people. I mean, there's still plenty of disappointment in video games.
Right, for sure. We've gotten so off track. Okay, let's bring it back to
whatever.
Yeah,
but I think this conversation is definitely analogous as an analogy to working at WUPX. This is what working in college radio was like.
Yeah.
You came in thinking one thing and starting to do one thing. Right. And after like 2 to 3 hours on the air, unless you were under the specific nights when we had everything laid out by genre, you just went completely off the rails, especially if people started to call and started to request different music.
For sure.
You would end up completely off where you started.
Yeah.
But that was the whole point. That was what it was about, even though you didn't realize it at the time.
Definitely.
So one of the coolest things about being there was when somebody else listened to your show, like if Jace listened to my show and heard some song and he was like, oh yeah, Sneaker Pimp. So actually that was you, but
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also like every now and then somebody would either in station or over the phone call up and suggest something. Yes. And sometimes it was like in line with what I was playing, or they just knew I would like it. Like that was the best feeling in the world. If somebody suggested something that you didn't know about, like Jolene, that was a song by Cake that somebody, I think it was Kent that suggested it to me. Yeah. And it's been one of my favorite songs by Cake, probably one of my favorite songs ever since then. When I got to see that live, like that was one of the coolest concerts I ever saw.
That's awesome.
Now, you just made me think of something, too, when you said, like, people would call up and request a song, and especially if it was something that fit into what you were doing or, that they knew you might like. Did you guys have, like, the unwritten rule in your head, like, say, Kent was on or Josh, and you knew they were doing a specific thing? Any DJ, really. You would not call up and request something that was completely not what they were doing.
Right.
Absolutely.
Professional courtesy, I guess.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think some of it is just what it's like. If you're doing a half-hour segment dedicated to the Beastie Boys, like, you don't want somebody to call and ask you to play,
anything else.
The Prong song, the Snap Your Fingers.
Oh, snap your fingers, snap your neck.
Yeah, you don't want somebody to call and suggest that. Like, I might play it at the end of my show, but I wouldn't let it interrupt what I was doing.
Note to self: when we get T-shirts made, we have to have the back say "Poor Prong."
Poor Prong. But there was always exceptions to the rule, and it was if the Doc of Rock was on air, I would call and request everything I knew he hated.
Did you have other people in call and request those songs?
I'm sure I did at some point in time. I'd be like, "Hey, Jeff's on. Will you call up and do this?" And be like, "No, I'm not going to do that." And I'm like, "No, for me, come on, do it."
Yeah,
I'll even dial the number 227-2348, and it's still the number. So if you want to call it, feel free.
So one thing I remember about being a college student age person up there going to parties is like if there wasn't anybody at the stereo system, or organizing what songs came on, I automatically became the DJ. Like nobody asked me to, I wanted to do it.
Nice.
And, I would start playing songs and people would come and request stuff. And I love, this was probably before I was even on the air. I think when I was a freshman, I would go to some party and that would be how I made myself feel comfortable in a room full of people I didn't know. Before the beer kicked in,
Nice.
Oh, see, that was a much better way than I would do it. I would just drink so much until I just forgot what I was doing.
Get the beer to kick in quicker.
Yeah, liquid courage would take over, and I'd wake up with 17 new friends the next day that I have no idea who they are.
Whatever works, So
I think Empyre's way is much safer and better. That's a better route to go, everybody.
Kids, if you're listening, and I know some of you are, don't do it. everything in moderation. So Empyre, when did you start actually making music? When did you transition from just being a fan to starting to actually record something that was yours?
So before, that's a good question. I got a guitar when I was about 17.
Okay.
And it wasn't I was probably 19 when I really wanted to start a band and really started wanting to do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, at the beginning, you're just like, okay, how do I write a song? And at the
Right.
time, you couldn't like Google, how do I write a song? You couldn't go onto YouTube. There were no resources really. So, I mean, we would just jam. And if something like was cool, we would record it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we were trying to come up with band names, and that was when I came up with the name Sample The Martian. It was before I had any songs written. Now I have like some guitar stuff that I wrote way back then that I've always wanted to like finish songs from.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was at WUPX, I know part of what, drew me to people like Kent or JB or Jesse or any of the people that were playing in bands that played at shows around campus or off campus was, the thrill of wanting to learn more about that whole process.
Oh, okay.
I mean, even, Robot Party, like that was such a treat to hear that. Like I still remembered bits and pieces of it. And that was probably one of the best indie songs that we played from our era at WUPX.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't think I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I still don't think I know what I want to do as far as, what kind of songs I want to make. It changes on a daily basis.
I think that's part of people who write music. I think they have ideas, but a lot of times until they start doing it, they never really know what they're going to do. They might have an outline or an area that they're going to be in, but a lot of the musicians I know who have done things, I'll say moderately successfully, and that's on a real local level.
Yeah.
They had an idea, but that was about it. They didn't really know what they were going to do.
So did you have like a list of like, did you just start with a beat, or did you start with a guitar riff and flesh it out? Or what was like the first song that you said, well, this is a thing. This is now a thing.
So back when I wrote some of those things, I think I was probably in some cases jamming with somebody else. I don't know if Jace remembers, but me, him, and Jen jammed a few times.
I do remember
the basement
that
at the dorms.
Yep.
But even before that, you couldn't just record as easily as you can now. I mean, now you can pop open your cell phone, find their voice recorder app and hit record. And even if it's not a good recording, you can record your idea.
Yeah.
And you're not going to lose it. So I think for me, way back then, it was A, is it cool? And B, can I keep playing it long enough so that I will never forget what I'm playing?
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I remember that. Me and you and Jen jamming in that basement. I don't think we ever recorded any of it, though.
No, we didn't. I wish we would have, but...
Did you just play other songs that you knew, or did you make up stuff, or what was
I think we were just making stuff up and thinking around.
Yeah, the chemistry was pretty good. Like, if we would have kept doing it, we would have been able to do something with it. I guarantee that. Like, I mean, we all have easygoing enough personalities that we would have probably been able to come up with something and work with each other. I'm sure the
big difference is, though, between the three of us is you and Jen are both musically inclined.
Maybe, I think.
And I'm like what I like to call I'm a hobbyist at best.
You like to tinker with music.
I tinker with music. What I'm really good at is buying musical instruments I don't play. That's what I'm really good at. That's where my artistry lies.
Yeah.
Buying video games that we don't play. I've done
exactly.
That. So the thing is, and to me, I think really the only dividing line is at what point of picking up an instrument and putting it in your hands do you give up? Like, there are people obviously that are way, way better than me, and they just have more drive. Like I said earlier, when I wanted to play all the Nintendo games over pandemic in the beginning when we were locked down, like I only had about 3 weeks in me. And when it comes to playing guitar, I can do it and I can do it a lot, but I don't have that, whatever it is inside me that can allow me to keep playing it for 8 hours a day for, 3 years in a row. I
Yeah.
can't do that. I wish that I could, because, I love music and I get it enough to where I would get something out of it, but I lose my attention span after some amount of time.
Yeah.
And I think with Jace, he's probably more musically inclined than he knows how to admit. I mean, part of it is just having taste. Like whatever it is that we listen to, we can all hear a CD independently that we've never heard before, 10 songs. And I bet you if we listed our 3 favorite songs, we would pick the same 3 favorite songs in a lot of cases, or at least 2 of them would overlap. You know what I mean?
I would say that was
some of
probably
it is if
the
you're
case.
playing an instrument and, you hear something that you think is cool, you know it sometimes and you remember it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's as much about talent as it is about persistence.
So what would you say currently is your instrument of choice? Is it mostly on a computer now, or what do you use? Like when you make music now, what do you start with?
So it's usually one of 2 things. Right now, it's usually a guitar, or like I'll be at work and I'll be in a bad mood or sad or some sort of emotion that's pretty like deep.
Yeah.
Or heavy or too much of, like I'll have too much of one emotion and I will think of a phrase and put it to a melody and, voice recorded in my phone. Sometimes I'll go out to my car so that I can do it where nobody can hear me, because it's probably not in any key or like any decency of melody. And, I'll listen to it in a few weeks or a few months and go, oh yeah, that was dumb. Or sometimes I'll keep it and, put it down my list of things that I want to make a song.
Yeah. So I've listened to,
go ahead.
I've listened to several of the Sample the Martian songs that you have on Bandcamp, and a lot of it, do you come up with all the beats, or do you do a lot of sampling, or how do you come up with that? And like, I'm interested in the actual like guts of is there a particular software that starts that, or does it start with like a drum pad, or what is the actual thing that you use? What makes that music? Obviously your voice is your primary instrument, but aside from that, what makes those things happen?
So my goal has always been to be as different as possible.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wish I had the talent of is like, Ween. If you listen to early Ween stuff, they go from, like 70s funk R&B to, a lounge style to some psychedelic thing to a David Bowie style. And the singer can pull it off.
Oh yeah.
So like, just like my music tastes, I want what I do to be as diverse as possible. And you can hear that in some of my songs, there is a diversity to it. But to me, my voice almost always sounds kind of the same. And that's one thing I wish I could improve on. So to answer your question though, I don't want to ramble too much.
No, that's okay.
I can talk about it for days and weeks if you keep asking me questions about it. It really depends. It kind of depends like what cool thing did I start with first. Sometimes I want to write and I just write a generic drum beat with Fruity Studio. Which
love that.
I finally bought. Yes, I finally bought a legal copy of it because I've been using it for so many years. I haven't even installed it, but because I used it for so many years, I wanted to pay them the money that feel like I owed them.
That's nice.
And so sometimes I'll start with a simple, just a hi-hat, or maybe a hi-hat with a snare, or, a simple 4/4 beat. Or sometimes I'll take, I like to take a jungle beat, like, it's supposed to be at 220 beats per minute or 280 beats per minute. And I'll slow it down to like 60 beats per minute. And it comes up with a really just weird rhythms that I would never think of on my own. And I'll try and play an instrument to that. Or, I might be jamming on my guitar and go, oh, I need to record this. So I'll hurry up and make a quick drum beat about the tempo that I'm playing. And I'll try to play along with it so that I'm like in a tempo, or maybe I'll just record it raw with nothing and let it be sloppy and come back to it later and clean it up and put it to a drum beat. Sometimes, very rarely, it starts out with a melody. Usually where it becomes a song to me is if I write something or make something that is so interesting or cool to me that I have to keep playing it over and over and over again. You know, just like when we hear our favorite song of the week, month, or year, we might listen to that bad boy straight for 3 days.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like that. And then, you know, if it's that good, I'll try to come up with a melody or some words to it. And, you know, I always hope that other people think it's that interesting. And sometimes it is, but sometimes you just do it anyway and you don't care, which, you know, that's one of the nice things about getting older is learning to care less about that sort of thing.
That's true. Yeah.
You realize that all the people you thought you were supposed to impress, it didn't matter anyways.
Oh yeah. They do not care.
No.
Yeah.
So you gave us a couple songs.
Yes.
And we're going to play them both for everybody to listen to. So the first one, what are they called first off? And then we'll play them and you can talk about kind of maybe what was the kernel that started each song and what your thoughts were on it and stuff like that. And then we'll play the song.
Okay. One of them is called Box at the End.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is called Blackest Sheep.
Okay. So I remember Blackest Sheep. What did you start with, if you remember? What did you start with Blackest Sheep and then how did it become a full-on
So that song is a little bit unique in that regard. A friend that I made through a computer convention called Penguicon. It's a Linux convention. I was the music track director one year and I booked some chiptune guys. And the one dude that was playing, like I was trying to get some sleep in the room next to where the concert was going on. Mm-hmm. And I heard this dude come on and I was like, whoa. I was like that Back to the Future moment. Like, you know, that sound you've been looking for? This is it. And that was Nicola. And I went out there and I watched Nicola and then he started playing a violin.
Oh, wow.
Along with these Game Boy beats. And then he started playing an electric guitar. And I was like, whoa, this is so cool. And we became friends. He was a lot younger than me. I don't even think he was 21 yet. And I was probably in my mid-30s.
Okay.
And so anyway, there was this songwriting thing called the VPC where we had to write a song in a week or 2 weeks or something. And he got me the music like on Sunday and we had to turn it in Sunday night. So I'm okay, this is really cool. I have a few hours to write a song. Let's figure it out. And I know that I write best in my car. So I started with the chorus. I went to the car, went for about a 20-minute drive, looped the chorus and came up with the I don't fit in part. And then, went back home and wrote and recorded the verses. It was the fastest song I've ever written. And somehow it turned out to be one of my favorites.
That's
cool.
That's
just magic. I wish I could make that happen, but you know, as many times as I've tried since then, I can't make that happen at will.
All right. So Jay, should we play that song now?
So yeah, here is, this is The Blackest Sheep on X Radio X.
I was just odd, played the outcast like a full-time job. Dungeons and Dragons and shoes I fell for. White child in the burbs, born in the ghetto. Style so old it was carbon dated. I listened to the music that everyone hated. For hip-hop was make-believe, taping songs from the radio like an 83. Lego spaceships of grand design. Gotta find a safe place like inside my mind. Strum a guitar for imagination. NES and comics were my best vacations. Got a little older and my hair grew long. Inside the bottle I hid inside a bong. Inside women and I hide inside songs. Lost in dark places, never I belong. Don't fit in. Can you tell me why? Don't fit in. Is it just my poison mind? Don't fit in. Can you tell me why? I don't fit in. Fast forward a bit to the future, the present. I found a family in some nerdy conventions. I found a program where my function is called a solution to the maze that can never be solved. Yeah, I don't fit in, but I march to my own tunes. I stick to my guns and always keep it true. I'm quirky as fuck, but I wear that shit proud. If you fit with this, then you're welcome in this crowd. Spit who I am, straight down to the bone. I preside over no one on a self-made loner throne. Owning nobody but these beats and these words. If you
There it is.
Can you tell me why?
Love it.
Black as Sheep here on X Radio.
I don't fit in.
Okay, hold on a second. Is that still the song, or are you doing this to me, Empyre?
No, that was still the song, but it's over now.
Okay. See, that's the professional part that I used to be really good at, is knowing that stuff.
So, okay, at the beginning, I was like, it was like I was playing like Castlevania or something. Like, that music is so it's so cool. It's like it's a video game. I mean, I think that's kind of the genre, right? I mean,
so that's the chiptunes aspect of it.
Yeah.
So the first time I went to that convention, I didn't have any idea that they would ask me to be the music track head, but I was hoping to find people who liked what I did, and I would just ask people, "Hey, what kind of music do you like?" And a lot of people said chiptunes, and a lot of people said OST, and I didn't know exactly what that meant. But it's like video game soundtrack stuff. And so the next year, the person, I think it's original soundtrack. Maybe I should know. Don't sue me. But like, when I did end up being the music track head, like, I guess whoever was going to be dropped out, and they asked me, and I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that I love music all the time. I'll find a way to be good at it, maybe. And, I think I did a search for Detroit chiptunes, and I found this group of people, and booked them, and, started to become more familiar with chiptunes.
That's cool. And I like lyrically, you do, in several songs, you do reference like the nerd lifestyle. I don't know if there's a better way to phrase it, but that's a big part of what you rap about. Like, and I think it's both sometimes funny and sometimes super, super relatable, for me at least. But that's so fun to hear. Like, some of the lyrical, references you use are really cool.
I remember being at Radio X, and I think this was a story I mentioned on the radio, is I said that I had every episode of X-Files on video cassette, and I had them all in order, organized by season, 2 episodes per tape, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And Kent was like, I didn't know that you were at all like that. I'm like, really? Like, I am a card-carrying geek. I go to comic book conventions. I own comics,
Nice.
like I'm as geeky as I can be. But I mean, maybe I didn't look geeky at the time, or maybe like, I didn't have a pocket protector or something, but whatever it was, I think the thing about being at the radio station was the college radio was an equalizer. It didn't matter where you came from or what you did or what clique you were in high school. Right. If you were at WUPX, you were an Xer and nobody cared what you did. Yeah. As long as you weren't a complete and total jerk.
Right. Yeah, that's very true.
I think we cared if you didn't wear deodorant.
Yeah, there was some comments in the past at the X about something smelling like piss and patchouli. We won't get into that.
We would just have Bridget talk to them if that happened.
Yeah. Oh, man. So when I heard that song, Black as Sheep, I don't know if you've ever heard of this band, but the first thing I thought of is this band called I Fight Dragons.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I know. Why do I know them? I do know them.
Because they did a lot of their music had a lot of that chiptunes aspect to it.
They did a cover song. I know.
Yeah, I'm sure they did one.
Because they did a cover song. Why? Oh, it's going to come.
They have some notoriety. And it's more than even I know. Like, I've seen them in places where I'm like, oh wow. Like, let's just pretend they were on MTV. Like, wow, these guys made it to MTV. Like, they've made it pretty far. Like, they might be in a movie. They probably did a cover song in your cover song collection. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Because I'm trying to remember the song that I remember by them the most. I want to say it was off the album Cool Is Just a Number. Oh, shoot. What was it? Oh, Heads Up, Hearts Down. That's the song that I remember from them. And it was not, I didn't hear it on our college radio station. I heard it on CMU's college radio station back when they, used to have a decent one. Now they're like adult alternative music and not the good type. But back in the day, this would have been the early 2000s when I was back living in mid-Michigan again. Central Michigan University had actually a 91.5. Their college radio station's also 91.5. And that's where I heard this band, I Fight Dragons, from.
Okay. they did a cover of Huey Lewis and the News' Power of Love, and it was actually really good.
I love that song. That is one of my favorite 80s songs. Always has been, always will be. And not just because of Back to the Future, but it's just a great song.
It's a great song. Oh yeah. They, one of our friends that does a podcast, well, two of our friends that do a podcast, Playlist Wars, they did a Huey Lewis and the News playlist that was really fun. I don't think I agreed with any of the playlists that they picked. I had my own top 10, but it just reminded me how much Huey Lewis and the News had amazing songwriting talent. Like they were, and musicianship as well. But yeah,
and they were definitely a moment in time band.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's true.
I saw them, I think, in '94. $10 tickets to DTE or Pine Knob or whatever we want to call it to sound cool.
Mm-hmm.
Pine Knob.
It was a great
If
concert.
we're sounding cool, it's Pine Knob.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that still works, though, because that might just make us sound old. I mean, granted, we are getting there.
Well,
Old and
Empyre,
cool.
if you haven't heard the beginning of this podcast, we knew it before when it was cool there.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was better because.
I'll buy that.
All right. So the next song we're going to play, tell us about this one.
So this is really kind of it I think a lot, we hear stories about how songs are written all the time. We'll hear like when John Lennon was alive, he would keep a notebook by his bed because he would wake up in the middle of the night thinking, of song ideas or melodies or whatever. This was going to sleep. So when Guitar Hero came out, I played the shit out of Guitar Hero. I started with Guitar Hero 2 and then got the 80s one and then Guitar Hero 3 and then Rock Band. And it took me like a week to beat everything on hard on Guitar Hero 2. And then I started trying to do expert. So anyway, when Guitar Hero 3 came out, I finally got it for whatever system it was on. I was trying to beat whatever tier that Slipknot and Metallica was on expert. And I kept playing the Slipknot song, Before I Forget. And when I was trying to fall asleep, the melody from Before I Forget mutated and mutated and mutated into the melody in Box at the End. And I think I actually got up before falling asleep and went and recorded that melody. And then the next day I wrote most of the song. And
whoa.
Sorry, you got a little premature there.
Oh, that's okay. I wrote most of the song the next day and like another one in about a half hour. Like the verses just all came together really fast. And that was like hey, let's throw down some scratch music that'll just make it a song and then record the lyrics and go back and make it better. And eventually I had a drummer actually play drums and I rewrote a lot of the music. But out of all the songs I've done, this is one of two that my parents have both liked.
Oh, cool.
So that's how I know it's probably pretty good as far as being accessible.
And
there was a time when I was upset that everybody liked this song and not my other song. But then it took me time, and eventually I went, you know what? I don't care if they like something that I'm doing.
Right?
Cool.
Yeah.
Is this like your like your Radiohead creep? Is that what this is?
I wish, but yeah.
That's all relative, of course.
I'm going to pretend for a second that Jace knew the exact amount of lead in for the music and he was just going to start it so that right when we finished talking, the lyrics would start. Is that?
So you being a smart ass, does that mean you want me to go now?
No. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Here it is. Box at the End here on X Radio X.
I was a little boy once and I always kept on guessing. Had a father who was sharp on always teaching lessons. Had a bike that was prime and took me on my searches. What I found was a find that no one can just purchase. But it felt a little too good and I knew I didn't deserve it. I disguised it through design to erase my inner purpose. There's a box at the end of the street. I won't open it. It's not locked, it's begging for me. I can't so serious it stings. But the pain it brings motivates and makes my soul sing. I'm a fool and I'm a king among demons with sharp wings. Target myself, enemy rating, aiming at number one. Telekinesis on a feeble trigger to destroy instead of stun. My wires get with flame and my circuits they be crackling. Encryption levels kept complex to deter my own soul hacking. Poison traps in stack mode to protect my sacred blackening. Like Anakin's love fed his evil dark gloves and the monster he became. I refuse to be a slave when my mental frame is off the chain. But my powers come from feeding, they come from feeding on the pain. And I wear that badge just to prove that I'm insane. And I wear that badge just to prove that I'm insane. There's a box at the end of the street. I won't open it. It's not locked, it's begging for me. I can't open it. A gift screaming I'm free. I won't bother it. I should be drawn by its natural curiosity. I should forget where it is and just let it be. A box at the end of the street. I'll get over it. A box at the end of the street. I won't open it, no.
And that's Box at the End here on X Radio X.
So cool. All right. So I got to ask now, you play, obviously that's your voice. What other instruments did you play in that?
So on that song, I played everything but the drums.
Is there a keyboard or is that like a computer thing? Did you have an actual, because there's definitely a piano or keyboard sounding.
I think that was a keyboard. It's possible it was on a real piano because the studio that I go to, I know he has a piano, and I can't remember if it was piano or just a keyboard. It might have been a keyboard.
There's definitely bass. There's definitely guitar. Did you do both of those?
So the one part of the guitar at the very beginning and the very end, one of my friends was over and he was just jamming with the record button on, and I snagged that and threw that on there, and he was very pleased.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's awesome. I mean, and then you said you got a guy to come in and add drums to it.
Yeah. The studio that I go to, usually the Soundscape recording studio, the engineer there, Tim Smith, he did the drums. He's drummed in a number of bands. He drummed for Zug Island for a while. He might still drum with them if they go on tour or do shows. I don't know if you've heard of that band, but as far as Detroit,
I never heard of the band, but the actual place I've heard of.
Okay. Yeah. The band is pretty decent. They're well known. Like they're kind of part of the Juggalo scene. They've played the Gathering of the Juggalos numerous times. I think they went on tour with like Buck Cherry or something. But yeah, they've got some pretty good songs. He's a good drummer. I've known that dude a very long time, since mp3.com was a thing. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember mp3.com.
Totally.
So I have a couple, like when I heard that song, because I like to listen to songs, and I'm like, all right, what were they trying to say? Like, what's the meaning? Where are they going with this?
You're my hero.
And I kept and I kept thinking to myself, is this going to be like the movie Seven? The box at the end.
Oh,
the box at the end. And it kind of is anyways, even without, I'm assuming there's no severed head Empyre
correct
in the box at the end. But the idea is don't open the box at the end.
Yeah.
At least that's what I kept getting to.
What's in the box?
Yeah, what's in the box?
I can't listen to that song without thinking that exact same quote that you quoted from the movie. Like, it's just an obvious connection.
Yeah.
So for me, people have asked me, so what is in the box?
Yeah.
And there was a time where I don't know if I explained it or I don't know, but this is as good a time as any to actually like say it for real. So there's a lot of references to self-esteem in that song. And there was a time where, like I knew my self-esteem existed in me, but like I just struggled. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys saw this when I was at Radio X, but I pretty much felt like I was worthless every day. And I felt like that for many days, probably until I quit drinking in my 30s. And, I had best friends that I was friends with for a good decade. And I, in my head, thought that they only hung out with me because they felt bad for me.
Oh, wow.
And, after kind of like getting my head together and talking to them about it, they were like, "Are you crazy? Like, no, we value you a lot." Like,
Right. Yeah.
like, yeah, we invite you because we like you. And it took me a while to get used. And I mean, it's hard for me to even think back to like, wow, I was that hurt. Like,
That's
what
rough.
happened to me to make me feel that way? But I mean, so the whole concept of that song is like, I have this self-esteem and I have this self-worth, and it's like buried in this box, and I don't know how to open it. And I don't think I should, but
Wow.
I also know that I should have opened it, and I probably have since then, I guess. I think having kids, really, I got to that point where I did quit drinking. It's been about 14 years.
Good for
Not
you,
to say,
man.
Congratulations.
Like, I mean, and I want to say this too. Like, sometimes people will say, "Well, do you care if other people?" I don't care if other people drink. I just know it was a problem for me.
Yeah.
And since then, it allowed my brain and my body to heal enough to where I could have some self-esteem, and actually have a family and have kids. And I think you guys both have kids, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you get to that point where
I got enough kids for all of us.
Okay. you get to that point where you realize, my actions affect other people,
Right.
and affect them in a way that, they have no control over how it affects them. And I know not everybody gets to that point where they're like, okay, I have kids, I have to be a better person now. I was getting to that point before I had them, but they were just like a huge Mack truck that pushed me over.
And they were the big catalyst to go, well, time to shit or get off the pot.
Yes.
Yeah, like, let's have an actual career now. And,
if we're going to be a better person, now's a good time to do it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I still got plenty of demons to slay, but I think the bigger ones are mostly, put to bed, hopefully forever. And
that's great.
How many kids do you have, by the way? I want to say it's 2. Am I right?
It's I have 3. 2 of them that live with me. One that I don't see very often. It's a little bit of a complicated scenario, but that's okay. Yeah. He lives on the other side of the state. He actually made it to the state semifinals in football this year, his senior year. So
nice.
That was super, super cool. The farthest that his school has been able to go in football playoffs. We text pretty regularly. We're not as close as I would love to be, but that's just how life is. And I make the best of it. And I think everybody's okay with that.
Sure. Do you find that making music is like cathartic or healing? Not necessarily just the lyrics that you write about, but the process of making music. Is that something that, gives you, I don't know what you would want to call it, energy or focusing, or do you feel like it has that power for you?
Absolutely. I mean, when I used to write lyrics, I used to write constantly, like every day I would probably write. Maybe not every day, but on a daily basis, I would probably write at least a quarter of a page of stuff. Mm-hmm. But for me at that time, it was all this stuff in my head, all these feelings that I didn't understand, just needed a place to go.
Right.
And I mean, truthfully, it was anxiety, but the anxiety would manifest into word combinations and, eventually lyrics and rhymes or whatever. And a lot of it, I look back and I'm like, holy shit, dude, you were in a lot of pain.
Right.
And I'm glad that I'm not. I mean, I still am sometimes, like I'm more moody than the average person. I think I feel emotions more than the average person.
Yeah.
But I deal with it in a much better way, and it's less severe now that I'm older.
Yeah, that makes sense. Was Box at the End a song that you had lyrics first and then you put the music to it, or did you start with music and then
that one lyrics? I had nothing, and then that night when I was falling asleep, I came up with the melody for the chorus.
Yeah.
And then the next day I wrote most of everything.
Nice.
There's a couple of bass changes that I wrote later, like the piano part came later, but the main guts of it was done in an hour or 2.
And how often do you go back and tinker like George Lucas with Star Wars? Do you go back and change things endlessly, or do you at some point do you say, all right, I have to walk away from this one. Done. It's as done as I'm going to get it.
I think, yeah, absolutely. I have to do that. And that's with the thing that I'm working on now. It's kind of a bunch of works in progress that I keep updating as I have time. But eventually there will have to be a time where I go, okay, this is it. And truthfully, the end point to me is, some of the songs need to have the drums written. It was just like a quick drum loop that I put together, or for a reason it doesn't have any bass. Jace mentioned, it needs bass. I'm like, oh yeah, it needs bass. And I'm glad he said that, because it encouraged me. Like, I'll think of it and I'll use that to help me push through when I got to finally write it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, once I flesh out the song and I feel like it's arranged how I want it to be arranged, I got to get help. Like, somebody's either got to mix it for me, or at the very least mix and master it. I've never been able to tackle that puzzle. Like, I don't know why, but I don't have the patience or something.
Yeah.
I don't have something to do that. And, I think a lot of those songs on Overdue Save Points, I need to go through, one or two more times with some arrangements and edits, and then go, okay, we got to make this final and release it. And the end goal, of course, is to pick, 8 or 10 songs, put it on a CD or a record, or I don't know what we call it these days. I really don't.
I think everything's a playlist now. Everything's a playlist.
Well, yeah, I mean, and officially release it so that I can get distribution and throw it on Spotify and Apple Music and whatever. I don't even know all the things anymore. I just know if I give it to, I think DistroKid is one that people use. I usually use CD Baby because they hooked me up in the beginning. But any of those, you give them their music, you pay a fee, and then they put it on all these outlets for people to not download, because nobody downloads music anymore. Like, all we do is stream it or YouTube it, really, which, whatever. I mean, at least it's accessible for people to hear and see.
Yeah, that's true. So you're on Bandcamp. How does that work? Like, what's the process with that?
So what I'm doing with Bandcamp, I don't know that anybody else has tried to do it this way, but I found like a little bit of a cheat. And so I could create a record, which I did, or a release called Overdue Save Points, and I can keep adding songs to it, and I can replace songs. So, like, I have a particular version of a song up there right now, and I've been working on an updated version that's, I might have a verse and a chorus, and I have all 3 verses written, and I have it arranged, and, I just need to tighten some things up, and I can replace the original demo that I have with a better demo. So it's kind of like, you know how you watch people paint live, like on glass or something?
Yes.
On a show. It's kind of like that, but really slow, because I'm old and I have kids and it takes me a long time to work on music. But it gives me the opportunity to do that. And I think that the reason I want to do that is because it allows me to put something up unfinished, but it also allows me to keep drawing attention to this same release. I'm sure you guys know that when your favorite band puts out a CD now, like, it's popular for 4 minutes and then everybody forgets about it. Like, and I think
I think that we have the same with podcasts. I mean, frankly, we put out an episode and there's like a rush of downloads, and then we do have to remind people, hey, we have a new episode, and hey, don't forget our most recent episode, and hey, did you happen to hear this last episode that was also pretty cool? So I mean, it's a different thing entirely, but there also are similarities as far as like getting it in front of ears and then reminding those ears about it frequently.
And I think in music and podcasting share this kind of same thing, even though music might have a little bit of an advantage, is attention spans anymore are so short that you might, I mean, I guess if you're going to play the odds, somebody might get luckier releasing music at 3 to 4 minutes a pop than a podcast at 20 minutes to an hour and 45 minutes a pop.
That's an interesting,
Because the way attention spans seem to work anymore, especially in the internet age. Boy, do I sound like an old man when I say that. Attention spans in the internet age are just so bad.
But it's true. And I don't know how it works for other people, but when I start a podcast, granted, I've only listened to a few of them,
Yeah.
I listened to the whole thing. And I mean, some of it is because you guys are talking about people that I like a lot. You know, you didn't even have to like offer me to be on the show. I'd have listened to every episode anyway, because I want to hear what's new with, you know, Jen or Dave or Bridget or the Doc and Sluice. I mean, I want to know everything about all these people and, you know, what happened to them.
Yeah.
But also, you know, being able to kind of relive in my mind that the Radio X is one of the best things that's ever happened to me ever. Yeah. And I've always wanted, like, I wish we could make a movie about it, because we could, and it would be good. Like, there's so many stories and things that are stranger than fiction that have happened there that, you know, something like Empyre Records, it would blow the doors off, because it's just so much more interesting. There's so much more diversity to our personalities there. Like, take any three of us and we're all so different.
Yeah. See, I've always thought that a movie or a TV show or something about X-ray, or not X-Radio X, but WUPX would have been a thing. And I'm like, oh, then, well, that was kind of like WKRP back in the day, but it was cooler. But then I'm like, oh, it would have been like The Office or Parks and Rec, but with a radio station as the backdrop. And I'm like, yeah,
Kevin Smith could have pulled it off.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And the soundtrack would have been amazing.
Would have been fantastic. Oh, man.
That's true.
Yeah, Kevin Smith totally could have done that.
Well, I'm sure he listens to this podcast, so it's only a matter of time.
So you know how with sitcoms they have an establishing shot?
Yeah.
I always thought that bench outside the door at the UC.
Yes, I thought the exact same thing. As soon as you said that, I was like, the bench outside. That's got to be it. Yep.
But okay, so the bench outside of Radio X, outside of the UC, but you could kind of see, like, as we got older, it would have been like the alleyway in King of the Hill.
Think about it, sipping beer.
Yeah, there would have been a Boomhauer, there would have been a Dale, there would have been out Hank, smoking, and there would have been a Bill out smoking, because you got the it's the same thing, different periods of time.
Sometimes
I'm sure there's people who hear that and go, Chase, you're nuts.
Sometimes the Penguin would be sitting on the bench by himself. Yeah, I could see that. Sometimes there'd be a toilet full of CDs out there.
I want a Forest Ghost of Ryan Knipple too.
Oh man, it's just
I miss him. We weren't really close, but I mean, he was manager there for a while, and he was a dude. I got to see him when we had the one reunion in 2010. Yeah. He was there. He came late, but I stayed, I don't know, probably till 2 a.m. or something. And he showed up, and that definitely added to making that trip awesome. I would love to do another reunion, by the way. Anybody listening, like, I will do anything to help make it happen.
Oh, that would be great.
I just need notice to get the time off of work and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, people are far away now. I mean, there's a lot of, some are in the Midwest and some are still in Michigan, but people are all over the place now. It's not as easy as just driving up to the UP anymore.
Or even like Josh and I were both at Riot Fest, but Riot Fest is so huge. There's so much going on. Like, we didn't even see each other, and it wasn't anybody's fault. It's just like, you got this schedule and you're like, okay, how do I get to all these bands? Oh yeah, I got to go to the bathroom. Oh yeah, I got to eat too. Yeah. And it's a very cool festival.
You got to see some of your favorites, right? Not all
absolutely.
of them.
10 minutes of each favorite band. He's just one to one.
I thought at one time it'd be cool to have like a reunion there, but even still, like, we wouldn't get to see enough of each other.
No,
like, it's just too hard to coordinate.
Here's what we'll do. We'll have a podcast episode and see if we can crash Zencastr with like 20 people. How many can we fit onto one podcast? And then we'll just all talk over each other and
we can do it during
on
sweeps.
each other, and it'll be fun.
And then Matt will have to edit it because it all comes through in single tracks.
Exactly. It all downloads. I don't know if you know this, Empyre, but it all downloads into individual MP3s. So like,
nice.
Your track is going to be one thing, and then Jace's is one thing, and mine is one thing, and then the songs are on an actual fourth track. So then when I do the editing, I mix it all together. So imagine if we had 20 people with 20 MP3s, and we ever had to do any editing of the actual audio, I would just cry. It'd be horrible. But it'd be fun. I mean, it'd be fun to try it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've heard a lot of people, I know it's you guys supposed to be asking me the questions, but
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. Turn the
you mentioned,
tables.
like, which songs, do you remember the most from when you were at Radio X? And I've already mentioned a few of them. Cake by Jolene for sure. So what made me want to be at Radio X was one day I was listening to WUPX in the dorms and somebody played Shadrach by the Beastie Boys off of Paul's Boutique. And I went,
that's a good one.
Oh, like they play really good stuff on here. I need to figure out more about what the station is.
Yeah.
That was probably Chad, my neighbor in the dorms.
Chad.
So another one that I'm very surprised this band made it as far as they did was Daft Punk. I didn't expect Daft Punk to be a thing for as long as they were.
They were huge for a while,
retired, didn't they?
What's that?
They just called it a day, like last year or something. This year, maybe.
But they were a huge force in the electronic music scene.
Yes. Didn't they do a cover of Pac-Man? Or didn't they remix the Pac-Man theme?
Didn't every electronic band do a cover of Pac-Man at one point in time?
I feel like they did. Now I'm going to have to look that.
I just remember that
Jeez.
I didn't have like a big catalog of electronic music. And honestly, I still don't. I know much more about it than I ever used to. But Matt, I just remember we were terrible and we used to make fun of Bromer all the time and tell him all he did was play video game music on his show.
That's what we call it, video game music.
It was just video game music because
I don't.
But that was before it was a genre. Before it was
Kind of.
actually 8-bit, like whatever OTS.
I don't even know
just the
how-
beginnings of a genre.
Yeah.
I got into electronic music at the X and ended up doing like the Electronic Wednesdays thing. Like I liked it. I think it was just because it was something that was so new and uncharted to me that I wanted to know more about it. My one buddy who I grew up with, Jim Carr, he influenced me a lot musically. Like he went to the West Coast to join the Navy and he was stationed somewhere over there. I remember he used to talk about how dangerous the LBC was, but he used to come home on trips and he would expose me to all sorts of electronic stuff. So some of it came from that. Like he just had his thumb on the pulse because of where he lived. Like he introduced me to Nirvana. I think he had an advanced copy of Nevermind and I taped it off of his CD. And he introduced me to all sorts of stuff. I mean, so did my dad, but like, my dad's a completely different generation. So another song, I don't know if you guys remember this when we were there, but I think we made a couple PSAs about a few songs that we did not want to play. And one of them was Firestarter by Prodigy.
Yeah.
Because we got so many requests for that song.
Oh,
that was the PSA with Vlad just screaming to not request Firestarter.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And he said, it's really not that good. Yes, I remember.
But in the dorms, everybody loved that song.
Totally.
Well, I mean, and it was a newer style of music too. Like, there weren't very many electronic songs that were popular enough to where, they were accessible to college kids or whatever.
Well, and people don't realize either that the Prodigy had a pretty big career, even post Firestarter. They played huge shows and big festivals pretty much everywhere except for the United States.
Well, and I think that also it's important to point out that for the most part, those songs that we got tired of were requested a lot for a reason. It hardly ever did someone just say, let's just flood the phone lines with a song that's complete garbage. Like it had its merits, and there was something about those songs that people liked. We just got really tired of playing them. It's not like they were horrible songs. We just felt like they were horrible because we had to hear them all the time.
One thing
or sometimes Kent would actually point out to us why they were horrible.
Well,
we'd always hear why they were supposed to be horrible.
But in other circles, I was that guy too. Like, pointing out why so-and-so didn't deserve the notoriety that they got. And one thing that's always like been difficult for me as a musician and as a consumer is like I have all these different CDs and and I would ask myself, like, which ones, like I said earlier, I would categorize them into which ones I will never get rid of. I was like, okay, what is it about these bands that I love so much? Like, they're popular bands, like, or artists like Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, there's this battle that goes on with us when we're at that age of, you know, exploring new music. Like, oh yeah, that's too popular, we can't listen to it. I mean, we were all hipsters in our own way back then. Like, oh yeah, I don't know that we were trying to be ironic. Maybe we were, some of us. I don't know, but you know, there's that. Is this too popular for me to like because I'm not cool if I like it because so many other people think it's cool? That whole thing has always been some sort of internal battle for me.
Yes.
You know, and eventually I got to a point where I'm like, you know, music shaming people is really not a good idea. Like, because,
agreed.
You know, except for 100%. Nickelback. We're allowed to shame Nickelback. That's it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just a given. I think
because it's super easy.
Yeah,
I think
no, I mean,
100% of the listeners would agree.
The first song that they hit with, the down the bottom of every bottle or whatever.
How You Remind Me.
That's it. I love that song. I still like it.
It's got some musicality to it.
I mean, it was before it was, you know, they got to the point where they did some of the really popular or poppy, commercially, let's make songs to make people like us type of stuff. But I mean, when you're making music, like, you want people to like your songs, I think, in most cases. You know, I want somebody to like at least one of my songs.
Unless you're like G.G. Allen, then you're making things just on purpose for people to be mad.
Well, that's a really good point, though. Like you said, Empyre, the goal is for people to hear and like their music. So the fact that millions of people liked Nickelback, they really are winning. I mean, they're accomplishing what they set out to do at the expense of, I don't know, maybe their indie cred, whatever it may be, but you don't, I shouldn't say you don't, but for the most part, people want their music to be heard, right? And they want someone to connect with it in some way, as opposed to, let's put out an album that no one will actually like at all, but people will respect. I think that's kind of a losing battle,
make that
right?
Happen.
Yeah.
Wasn't that what Metallica tried to do with Lulu?
Well, I'm not really
Isn't that
sure
what happened there?
I think some of that was they were friends with Lou Reed and he wanted to make a record with them. And, you know, it'd be like if Lemmy would ask him, hey, will you make a record with me? I'm sure they would have said yes. When, where, and how.
Yeah.
So I haven't listened to all of Lulu. I've listened to some of it and it was better than I thought it would be.
I will, for complete transparency, I'm just being a prick. I've never listened to one note of it. I just know that everybody makes fun of it. So I'm jumping on the bandwagon, very much like picking on Nickelback. It's like, well, yeah, I like some of their songs. I can admit it. I mean, they write just some straight ahead rock and roll songs, but it's so easy to do.
Yes.
That you just fall into that trap sometime. It's not even music shaming, because I feel like music shaming, you're actually going to try to be critical about something, but it's just easy and it's lazy to pick on them.
I remember Kent said to me one time, he said, you know, we do like to pick on these popular bands, but without those popular bands to hold the industry together, we wouldn't have all the independent stuff that we have. And as soon as the MP3 came out and destroyed the music business, like it's very hard to find good independent music now. It exists, but it's not like in college radio days where you could like work at a college radio station and look at CMJ and see all these charts and check out all this different new stuff. Like now you have no idea. You could check out 50 different bands and like most of them can suck.
It's so democratized now that it's almost paralyzing trying to sift through and listen to everything you think might be cool. Because there's just too much of it.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
Do you think,
and I've tried, trust me.
Do you think that the Velvet Underground, when they, you know, started out, wanted to be like, hey, let's make something that's respectful that, you know, a bunch of people will respect, even though it's not going to be mainstream? Or do you think that they just did drugs and creatively made a record?
Yeah, that second one.
Well, yes, I feel like the second one, I think that see, this is a thing, and we did discuss this a couple episodes ago, but I think it's right place, right time.
Creativity, a talent. Is that was the question?
That was exactly.
Well,
and I think that they had enough talent and just enough creativity around people who are also creative that were influential, that therefore by the associative property, they became influential.
Well,
I like how you threw in associative property.
A lot of it is really like who you know and what you're willing to do for those people. When I saw Primus recently, I went, I got the VIP thing where you could do a meet and greet and ask questions and stuff. And somebody asked him, like, how did you guys get your first record deal? Yeah. And Les Claypool says, we sucked a lot of dick. And yeah, he was joking, but he was also serious in that, they basically, did whatever they needed to do to make people promote them or book them on shows or give them a chance. I mean, granted, Les Claypool was a really good bass player then. He's a really good bass player now. They had talent, but even at that level of talent, they still had to convince people, and they still had to make somebody, put them on bills and put up the money to make their records.
And I think that I think you could pave the streets with the bands that are uber talented, but didn't either have the drive or the marketing or the connections to get anywhere. Like,
the flat out luck.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there are probably, obviously, bands we've never heard of that would rival the Beatles or the Stones or whoever you may be super fans of, that because they didn't have that right place, right time, or the connections or the whatever marketing, they went nowhere. That's kind of sad.
Like in the days of 3 channels of television, some of those shows got as many millions of viewers because there were only 3 choices and you had to pick it. Mm-hmm. And I read this article, like, we can never have another band like the Beatles because there's too many choices now. Back then there weren't as many choices. And so, it's like, when we vote, if there's only 2 people to vote for, like, I mean, they're going to get one or the other. They're going to get a lot of votes.
Right.
Whether or not everybody participate in voting, I think somebody says psychologically, 1/3 of people will like most of something that you do, 1/3 will hate it. And then the third in the middle, that's really the X factor that determines the people that become successful or don't.
Yeah. That's that's funny and way off topic, but that's something that we actually, in the hospitality industry, we also look at when there are people who go online and they rate hotels or restaurants or things like that. Most of the people who study those ratings throw out the horrible negative. I mean, they'll take them, for reference if they need to improve things. But as far as like their focus, they throw out the super negative, they throw out the super positive. And they pay attention to the people in the middle who are giving honest, very gray, nuanced descriptions of their experience. And that's what they pay the closest attention to when it comes to, like, are we pricing ourselves out of the market, or are we providing this level of experience? Like, that's what, and I found that fascinating when I found out that they take as much interest in the super negative as they do the super positive. They're like, nope, we don't need that. We know that there are people who love us, and we know that there are people who hate us. And the people in the middle, that group is what we need to look at and say, how can we get them into one of those categories? Hopefully the positive, but how can we make those people more defined and less gray? And I think there is kind of the same thing in music.
When I go to whatever website to look at reviews for something I want to buy, like I was at one of the home improvement stores looking at a microwave because my microwave died. And I don't look at the 5 stars or the 1 stars because it doesn't do me any good.
No.
I look at the 3s and 4 stars to see, okay, like, are there any common issues with this microwave or whatever? And that's where all the good information is in those 3 stars and 4 stars. Because yes, either the 1 stars or somebody who it arrived broken or something that, doesn't happen to most people. Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Well, and 2, I mean, if you're going to go even deeper into the 1 to 5 star reviews, if you're going to write a bot to do something to a product, Seriously, you're going to write it to either nail it with all 5s to shoot it up a list,
right?
Or you're going to tank it with all 1s.
Sure.
The nuance and the people who actually take the time to explain things, and I have no data behind this, but I'm making a scientific wild ass guess here.
Yep.
Is they're gonna give you a 2, 3, or 4, and then tell you why. Whereas a 5 and a 1, they're just gonna be like, "I loved it, it's great, 5 stars," or "Fuck you, here's a 1."
Exactly. Now that
one finger, 1 star, buddy.
That being said, if you do want to leave us a review, please leave a 5-star review.
That's a great
we don't work in nuance here. We want 5 stars. Shoot us right up the rankings.
You can go ahead and tell us what you like or don't like. We would love the feedback, but just give us a 5-star rating.
Yes. What was it? 1 finger, 1 star?
Yeah, 1 finger, 1 star.
That would be an album cover.
That would be
with a middle finger.
1 finger, 1 star. Do not recommend.
Yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't try again. Well, Empyre, I'd like to say thanks for coming on X Radio X here with Matt and I. And if you could take a moment just to let everybody know where they can find your stuff.
The easiest way, I would say, would be just Google or whatever search engine, Sample The Martian, and then either Bandcamp or Spotify. The Bandcamp stuff is less finished. The Spotify stuff is more polished.
All right.
It was so much fun talking to you, Empyre, man. It was just a blast catching up with you.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on. It was awesome. It was so much fun. I got to feel like 25 again.
All right. So I'm Matt. Radio in hand, snacks by feet.
Game's about to start. Kicking popcorn to the beat.
Well, I'm Jace, and you finally wake up. Doc's gone to town. Round his back, through the hoop. Then you scream, touchdown. It's X Radio X, everybody.
Wait,
Thanks
we
for
did
listening.
it.
Yeah, we did, and you totally stepped on the end of it. So there, click, cut right there.
Thanks for listening.
Or for dinner, you ate it. There is none left. It was salty with butter, and it was death. You proceeded to eat it because you was in the mood. But Holmes, you did not read. It was a can of dog food. You be illin'. And then I'll say
see if we get it right. We will not get it right.
We will not get it right.
All right. I like it.